Today I brought with me a poem by Robert Frost that's called Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse might think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year, he gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. So with this poem comes a story that is particularly dear to me. I went on an immersion trip with my students overseas. So I was sitting with an ex-student of mine on a train journey, and we were heading past some woods. And as my student was staring out of the window at these woods and reflecting on the scenery, she turned to me and she quoted the last 4 lines of this poem, right? The woods are lovely, dark and deep. And she said, you know, this poem finally makes sense to me. Like, all of this makes sense now. At that moment, I could see a light go on in her eyes. I could see her making a personal connection with the poem. And for me, this was one of the few moments in my teaching career when I felt that I have somehow managed to pass on some kind of spark, some kind of love for the subject into my students. I try to inspire my students to love literature by exposing them to as many poems as I can. So in the hopes that one of these might touch them and they might eventually make some kind of emotional connection with it. I believe poetry has the potential to show the power of literature when students who were initially struggling with the subject turn to me and suddenly say, you know, that they've changed their mind. Right? Those moments when they say, I actually really enjoy the text now, or they even become a fan of the author, I think that's what makes teaching English literature really fulfilling for me.